What's up, guys? Shit, look at this. Look at this, right? Look at this. That's neckbeard. This is what happens when you play anime games for too long, man. You become a neckbeard. You become crazy. I think I've gained like 2 kilos in the last 3 weeks just from... I mean, this is the thing, I'm still gymming. I'm eating moderately healthy, you know. I think that sometimes I sneak in some unhealthy food here and there. I mean, no fast food, no excessive sugar drinks. Besides ginger beer. I do like myself some ginger beer. It's nice. This shit loud. Hold on. We're going straight into the game, okay? Alright. But yeah, I need to get my shit back on track, right? Like, I've only gone to the gym once this week. I have been a bit sick. You know, I've been sick really since Wednesday. So I'm having a bit of a rest this week. But it doesn't mean I can't, you know, not do any moderate exercise. Went for a walk before. Got myself a pie and a vanilla Berliner. I know, it's pretty bad. But I haven't had one in a while. So I was like, you know what? This is a good time to get one now. And then resort back to not eating that junk anymore. But it's crazy, right? So I've been eating actually like pretty good this year. Exercising moderately well. Playing volleyball. However, I'm still haven't been able to drop much kilos. I went to Japan. I gained a lot of kilos there because I ate a lot of food. Did a lot of walking though, which is good. Didn't go to the gym though. But came back, gone to a pretty strict gym routine again. Ate pretty healthy. And I think from there, I was almost 100 kilos. I dropped down to about 96. And then that was pretty quickly. I did that in about a month. But then I couldn't get below 96. I think that was mainly because I'm a bit of a muscular boy. So before we continue, I just always need to check my stream. Because who knows what could be fucking going on. Alright, cool. That's good. Yeah, so then the last month I've moved. Last month and a half I moved house, changed routine a bit. Still was going to the gym about 3-4 times a week, which is still good. Went for a couple of runs, walking when I can, working moderately. You know, playing volleyball. Volleyball's been a big thing. That's come back into my exercise routine, and yeah, no, still. I actually ended up gaining kilos in that time. So I'm weighing around almost 99. I weighed myself at the gym Monday, and I was about 98.7, so it was almost 99 kilos. I was like, Jesus, how did I gain 2 kilos when, you know, in that time, the only thing is maybe my diet I've been a bit more loose on, and not even that crazy. Like, I'm still trying to eat in the deficit. But yeah, I don't know. You guys don't want to hear about this, but I thought, you know, I'm streaming. I don't want to play the game, but I like to talk a bit as well, okay? I like to talk a bit before the stream. So I thought I'd spew some of that nonsense. But yeah, regardless on what I should do with that, I don't know. I mean, like I said, this is the first week I've only gone to the gym once in a while. Since I got back from Japan, I've been usually going about at least 3 times a week. I mean, you know, I could go the day, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still feeling a bit sick. I had a lot of chores to do at home. Did a bunch of them this morning. I still got a few more things. I got to pick up dog crap in the backyard and hopefully see if I can get my lawnmower working, and then mow the lawn because it's getting pretty long. But yeah, shit's been going crazy. But anyway, where we left off, we were playing the first trial. Very good so far. The only critique I have is that the pacing feels a bit off. Like, it feels like we're getting, what's the word, like, it's not really, it's like taking a while to get somewhere, and then it gets somewhere, we stay there for a bit, and then it kind of goes a bit of a tangent a little bit. And how things are structured, it's like, oh, we talk about this thing, but actually we're not talking about this, we're going to talk about this now, you know, and now we're kind of coming back into talking about things. But I like what's happening. Structurally, I think it could be a little bit tighter, but I don't think that's really a fault on the developers as much. Yeah, the ride can be a bit tighter, but mate, this is what I'm being so impressed with this game. This is a fan-made game. I don't know how much money they're getting from this. Like if they, because the game is free in the state. They probably, when they finish it, they'll be money that people pay for it. And I'll definitely be paying for it because they're fucking worth it. I have to see if there's anything I can donate to. You know, my money's tight, but I'll donate a bit of money to this to see if we can get off the ground a bit, but get more. But it kind of already has. The storytelling and the mysteries have been really good so far. The overarching story is a bit meh, I think. Like, there's not much incentive to really get into it compared to the Danganronpa games. I think the first trial with that Kara, I think it was, the fake death, I thought it was interesting. I think that will come into play later. Tozu is a pretty good villain. He's been okay. But I think not as good as a Monokuma, of course. Monokuma's the GOAT. Probably maybe better than Junko, because Junko's a bit of a meh villain in my opinion. She's okay. She's fun, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So we'll see how things go from here. Again, like I said, I don't know anything. I was actually really shocked to see Wolfgang be the first one killed. Reflecting on it, it makes sense in hindsight. Like, usually the first person dead is like a really mysterious like character you want to know a lot more about, and they're like, oh, he's dead. You won't find out, and it gets going. But somehow he's connected, usually to an overarching plot in some way. Well, at least with the third game, they were. The first game wasn't like that. The second game was, but it didn't really come into the overarching plot. So yeah. I don't know so much to say. This has been really good so far. So we had suspicion. Basically, we had suspicion on Grace, which was definitely not going to be Grace. It could wrap around back to her, maybe. I'm not ruling out entirely, but I don't think it will be her. Grace is ruled out. She was the first one everyone accused. And then it was Desmond for a bit because it was like, oh, his tasers would come from his room, right? And he's like, well, but I didn't use it. I didn't even know I had guns in my room. Bro, you're the ultimate marksman. Of course, you would know if you had weapons somewhere. But anyway, I think we ruled Desmond out because he has an alibi. The only one that didn't have an alibi was Diana, like a strong one. So we accused her, and then she was the main suspect. And now it's up in the back where we actually think, well, she was definitely there when he died. We know that. But was she the one that killed her? She says no. And I would agree. I don't think it was. I put it as a prediction because it just made sense. But of course, it's, you know, Danganronpa kind of fashion. These game stories kind of fashions is you have you have a couple of red herrings at the start, and then you have one big one that's like, okay, something big happened with this person, but actually it wasn't this person, it was then this other person. So we don't know what who the person that actually killed them. Had to be someone that knew the boiler room. Had to be someone who's a bit smart. From here, I generally don't know who it could be. I think, I'm trying to see. I think it's someone who was in the room during the gaming tournament. So that's either... So who was it? It was me, Kai, Jet, Cassidy, Grace, Eva, Jean, and Mark. I think it's one of us, somehow. And I think it's something they set up. They set up something in some way. And it got them... And they used the vent to somehow act like they were when the lights went out. But he died when the lights went out, though. But my thing is, it says how the same time doesn't mean it happened like the second the lights went out. I think the lights went out. There's a big boom that went off, and had something to do with the generator. I think something blew up the generator, caused an electric shock through his body. I think that's what killed him. But there's a lot of questions like, what's the hole in his neck? What's that? We know the neck. He was beaten with a rolling pin. The person had to have put it in closet A, and that's where Eva and Grace are in. So maybe somehow Eva, if it was the killer or Grace, one of them could have put the rolling pin then up there when they were in there. And it was pretty dark, so it's not easy to always see things. I don't know. I think now I'm making the suspects. I'm gonna either put it back to Grace. I don't think she's the main one though. Eva could be up there. I wouldn't think so because Eva's a pretty... Yeah, same thing, like, the shame of being an important character. Look at, like, Danganronpa 3. What happened with the killer in that first trial. They were a pretty important character as well, and they were the killer. Same thing with, I think, this case, so they could do either. But I think if Wolfgang and then Eva is it, and then she dies, then that leaves not many mysterious characters, like, many big characters to have as your sidekick or something. At least that's what I think. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. All right. Anyway, let's freaking get going. Actually, before we go, I kind of go to the toilet. I was gonna go before, but I was really eager to start streaming. So I'm gonna quickly. I'll be right back, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Be a few minutes. sorry guys. Holy shit. I just took a shit. That was great. Alright. Let's make sure I actually fucking... What the fuck? Alright. Alright. Deanna, now's your now's your chance to defend yourself. Here we go.
Tell me what happened.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
Why I went there? It was... 'cause of a note.
Yeah, someone to pin it on her.
A note?
2 days ago, someone slid one into my room. I never got to see who. I just heard a knock. And when I walked over, there was a note under my door.
Hold on. Getting a little cold. Grab my hoodie.
I don't remember any of this.
Sorry. It was midday-ish, and you weren't there at the time. And I didn't show you the note later because... well... I'll just read you what it said.
It's going to be something very similar to the note that Wolfgang had, I'm guessing. Same handwriting. Diana, as you are aware, it is our obligation to speak with those whose blackmail we have obtained. After receiving your blackmail and reading the information disclosed in it, I believe a meeting between the two of us is warranted. In 2 days' time, please come to the underground boiler room at 8:45 AM. Make sure to arrive promptly and close the door behind you. To avoid discourse, do not show anyone this letter. Do not approach me about it. Do not approach me about it either, even in private. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I fucking clicked too quick. This is from Wolfgang. Even in private, there is always the chance someone can hear. Wolfgang. Okay, so Wolfgang wrote it.
Wolfie wrote this?
Wolfgang had Diana's blackmail? But didn't he have Jean's?
Hold on a sec. If you take a closer look, the handwriting on that note...
It's
doesn't
not
it
Wolfgang.
resemble the handwriting on Wolfgang's note?
You're actually right. Even though Wolfgang's note has been water damaged, the words I can make out were in the same messy scroll as Diana's here.
Then someone else was posing as Wolfgang?
The killer, most likely. They must have thought his word was the only one Diana would follow.
Guess it worked, huh?
I didn't want to show this note earlier. Because I was scared of how people would try to twist it. Like saying I faked the note, or that I decided to kill because of it. I thought it would be better to just stay quiet. I know you guys think I'm stupid for agreeing to meet in a place like the boiler room.
Well, there's two
And
both naive characters, so
am.
it makes sense.
I am stupid. I just didn't want to disappoint Wolfgang. In case he really did write the note. Which was why I left my room around 8:40 AM and went downstairs.
Could anyone been watching around that time?
Did you catch any strange movement down there?
No. It was just me. I did find the boiler room door hanging open a little bit. But I didn't think much of it. I just went inside and closed the door behind me. Since that's what the note asked me
And
to
then
do.
they locked the door.
What did you see inside the boiler room?
The boiler room was really dark. So the first thing I noticed was actually the security camera light. My eyes had to take a few seconds to adjust to everything else. But after that, I finally saw him.
Wolfgang. He had to be alive at this time. He was been knocked out.
Lying in the water, making these weird noises. it didn't seem like he'd even noticed me entering the room. Not until
So he would have surely would have seen the killer.
Wolfgang? Hearing his name seemed to snap him out of his trance, because he slowly rose to his feet. Wolfgang, are you okay?
It's you.
Huh?
I can't believe it. I really am finally meeting you.
Mm.
What do you mean?
Please, forgive me. Please forgive me for what I've become.
Mm, interesting.
Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you. I will always be a failure.
Is he talking about his dad?
It's okay, Wolfgang. Look, there's stairs over here. Come over here and we can get out. I have no idea if he didn't hear me, or if he was just ignoring me. But, okay. I'll get closer to you then. I went over to the ledge of the platform, the part where the fence had a gap. Just take my hand, okay? And I'll pull you out. He slowly stumbled over, and he held my hand. I didn't really think I could pull him out. I just wanted to be there for him. It was the best I could do, because I didn't want to enter the water. Staying on the platform felt so much safer, and I really, really hate that it did.
Could it be Mark? I'm trying to think. Could it be Mark that set this up? You know why I think that? Because Mark... this is really interesting. Because Mark was controlling the music, right? And he said, on the conditions, I control the music. So he wanted to play loud music. So if they tried to, like, talk through the vents, like, hey, guys, try to talk to us to get him out. Because we're right there. We're like, the vents there, they can see into the room. And the music's playing loud, we can't hear them. So Mark wanted to control the music so we can hear them from not scream for help. Because I guess the door's going to get locked.
It's okay, Wolfgang. We'll get through this together, all right? I was looking at him when I said that. I was looking right at him. But somehow... somehow I didn't think to react. I reached inside his blazer.
Bring her back.
Bring it back, dude. It's like the movie. I just saw that the other day. Dude, literally like the movie, bro. If you guys don't know, Bring Her Back, filmed by the Raka Raka Bros, who did Talk to Me, just came out, I think yesterday. I went to see it. Great movie, great horror movie, very disturbing, but very bleak, but very good. So if you like horror, go see it. Little plug there. Bring Her Back. So Wolfgang clearly likes it as well. Alright. Okay, that explains the first bit of blood.
But the door was locked. I didn't know what to do. I started looking around for things to defend myself with. And that's when I saw the gun.
Ah, so she's the taser.
Did you use it?
I took the taser and I aimed it at Wolfgang, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't shoot him. I just backed away from him. I couldn't understand anything. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being attacked? Why can't I do anything to...
like you. I'll never be like you.
I think he's talking about his dad.
I won't give up until the world knows. I won't give up.
Bring it back, maybe a mum.
Until everyone knows me as
The ultimate lawyer. Kaboom.
All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me. Except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black.
It's a pretty cool photo.
And then, so did everything else.
Plop.
Even
Crack.
though I didn't see Wolfgang fall over, I heard it. His body cracking against the pavement, and his knife falling into the water. I waited for the gasp of pain, for him to groan or mumble or say something. But there was nothing. There was just me and the silence.
Taser was used. She said she didn't use it.
That's how it happened.
What the fuck?
That man attacked you?
Oh my goodness, Diana, I'm at a loss for words.
This is getting too much for me, bros. I think I'm gonna faint. Holy shit. So Diana really did watch Wolfgang die.
Why was he so violent towards her? It's like he became an entirely different person.
Well, when he was hit, so someone hit him. And knocked out. Maybe some memories rejogged.
The word you're looking for is crazy.
But how hard I try and how much I want it to be true, I could never become you. Why would Wolfgang say those words in that particular moment?
How'd you manage to escape the boiler room after all that?
By picking the door's lock.
For reals?
I wasn't even thinking. I just started feeling my way back to the door in the dark. And then, well, my supply bag. I remembered the spare hairpins I always kept inside. To be honest, I have no idea how I managed to unlock the door. The whole thing was repeated trial and error. Just minutes of me telling myself that somehow this next attempt will finally work.
Whoa! Actually unlocking the doors. That's like hitting a bullseye blindfolded.
Now we know why it took so long for her to escape.
I realized why it happened. Getting trapped inside.
But you're saying she got there at 8:45, so she was in there with Wolfgang for what? 50 minutes? Roughly? So all that happened in 50 minutes. Man, the timeline on these things are always so stupid. Like, why was she in there for 50 minutes with Wolfgang? Because the boom went off at 9:35. We probably got down there. Probably 9:45, I'm going to say, we discovered the body. So she got out just before then. So she would have been in the boy for almost an hour. Unlocking the door would have taken about, under that 10-minute period. And what else is there? I'm trying to think. But like that flashback would have taken less than 5 minutes. So I get they're like dragging things out, but timeline here is a bit silly.
The door's lock was on the outside.
I don't know, this is what I think.
Someone must have set the lock before I came downstairs, so that when I closed the door, I'd be trapped.
The lock is normally on the inside too. The killer purposely flipped it, then left the door open so you would be the one to close it. As for why the killer locked the door to begin with.
It was to frame Diana, right?
Right. The killer made Diana trap herself inside the boiler room, so they could kill Wolfgang in front of her, and force her to remain by his body.
But how they kill her?
Their plan
Clearly it was the boom, the generator. So he was shocked by the generator.
By which point, that someone would be stumbling across what looks like a cut and dry murder case.
If the tournament folks found Diana, they would have been playing right into the killer's hands.
Speaking of which, Diana, I'm curious to know, did you unlock the door before or after the tournament attendees arrived downstairs?
It sort of happened at the same time. Like, when I opened the door, there were already people walking down the stairs. Obviously, I couldn't stay inside the boiler room. If anyone saw me close to Wolfgang's body, it would look really bad. The hallway was a bit easier to make out in the dark, so I walked over to a wall bordering one of the storage closets and stayed as quiet as possible.
That's where the second blood has come from.
I was still bleeding a little from Wolfgang's cut, though, and some of that blood ended up dripping onto the floor around me.
Okay, so she was the...
On the underground floor! It's all coming
Okay, so she unlocked it when we came down.
This was shortly
before we came
us
down.
Tournament goers split up, and you made a run for it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Down the hallway, up the stairs, and then as quietly as possible into my room. Since everything was still really dark, I had to patch myself using the Tozu Trinket's projection as my light. I realize this is a lot, and I know it's hard to believe without proof. So, if you guys could just give me a second.
I pulled out a wipe and began...
I cleared up the blood pretty fast. Luckily for me, the cut wasn't that deep. There's still a chance it may leave a scar, though.
Holy crap! That's awful!
It's okay. I'll cover it back up again.
Why did Wolfgang attack you for no reason?
I wouldn't say it was for no reason.
You're being kind of insensitive, man.
Huh? I didn't mean it like that. What I'm trying to say is, Wolfgang's actions may look random from an outsider's perspective, but from his perspective, well, judging by his behavior, it seems like he saw something which shook him to his core.
Like, there was something in the room that Diana didn't see?
That's impossible! It was only me and Wolfgang in the boiler room!
I don't believe John meant it in a literal sense.
Wolfgang literally saw something?
He thought he saw something, is my point.
You mean he had been hallucinating?
That's where the chemicals from, I think,
What
got
did
drugged.
Wolfgang hallucinate for him to turn out the way Diana described?
You'd be surprised by the sort of things our minds can invent. I'm lucky to have never experienced anything myself, but I know some who have hallucinated nasty things. Demons and monsters. Or the feeling of being tortured. If Wolfgang went through something similar, I can see why he lashed out.
Now, what the heck is going on at sea?
Of course,
A lot.
these hallucinations don't just happen out
A
of
lot
the
goes
blue.
into sea.
More
Ingrid?
often than not, they're substance-induced.
Substance-induced?
Just say Wolfgang took a hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenics?
One which induced
Shrooms.
a lot of fatigue, too, judging by the way he lumbered about in Diana's account.
It would explain why Wolfgang mostly stayed in one place.
One place, which happened to be in the water.
Seems very deliberate. Aye. I reckon the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious in order to drag him into the water, but knew he would eventually wake up again. So they drugged him with something which would basically make him
That's the...
despondent. As for where the drug
That's the
came
syringe.
Oh no! Don't tell me the killer robbed.
I knew exploring it was a bad idea.
It? What's this it we're talking about?
The pharmacy, obviously. Why the heck did we think leaving that place open was a good idea? Now someone's stolen an item and drugged Wolfgang. Fuck! I knew our promise was too good to be true! I can't trust any of you guys! And don't say Wolfgang drugged himself! Who wants to be tortured by demons?
Well, stranger people do exist.
That's rich coming from you!
It's just as I predicted, exploring the pharmacy ended up paving the way for murder. Should I have made more of an attempt to stop people from exploring? Back then, all I did was... Caution yet determined expressions, the students enter the newly opened pharmacy. Get everyone unrestricted access to the medication sounded like a disaster in the making, but having already invoked the groups after speaking my mind before, I wasn't about to make the same mistake twice. I'll just stay quiet, let them do their thing. Yeah, bad idea. Then again, nobody would have listened to me. Especially not the Wolfgang in control.
If we know where the perpetrator got their chemicals, like guess our next step is figuring out how they did the drugging.
Agreed. It would help us better understand the timeline of events, and potentially even validate Diana's testimony.
Sounds like you guys can leave this one to me. I'm the kind of person who knows someone back to front the moment I meet them. If you haven't already realized, I've gone and read this killer like an open book.
You're the last person I trust to reach a correct conclusion.
Just you wait! The second you hear what I gotta say, you'll be eating those words.
Pinning down how Wolfgang was drugged may validate Diana's testimony. The question is, how did the killer drug him? We know, it was his neck.
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just jab him at that point.
How would the killer?
Make him swallow a pill.
There was
no proof they restrained him. Did the killer not Wolfgang? Maybe that was their way of restraining him. You can't force an unconscious person.
Swallow a pill.
What if the drug?
You don't need to eat. Like an inhalable substance? Oh yeah, like a powder or something.
Halo could be a thing.
Of over-the-counter sedators. But there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
It was the jab. I think the drug Wolfgang. The real ideas being thrown around. Only one has a real merit.
I bet the
No. What?
I got
Yeah, but fuck it up. I got it.
When Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck. During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple. But knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out if Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m. and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m. Then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes. Any normal pill would have taken probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
That's probably another reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around. Only when they had him right where they wanted. Dazed and unable to fight back, did they plunge the syringe into his neck.
It said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic.
But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
What? Why is it impossible?
Because everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damon and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Jean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
Toshiko was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted
Well,
for...
Diana still can't be accounted for, but she could be lying, but okay.
So, we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
And doesn't plan to stop.
What's screwing us over here? Is that a part of this mystery we're getting wrong? Or could it be we're overlooking something? It was ruled out as having no relation to the murder because the wires don't touch the water. But the position of it, the fact it destroyed the fact it's destroyed, the time of the blackout, one considered consistence is easy to wave off. But when it's consistent, coincidence. One coincidence is easy to wave off, but when it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, then there's something more going on. There's something more to the generator. Yeah, it's the vent. That's what I said. It's the vent, dude.
Possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that time. But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
To be honest, I'm drawing a blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead, which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic. Right now, we're at a dead end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me.
I go over to everyone knows me as... Knows him as what? Kaboom. All of a sudden everything turned white. Everything in front of me except Wolfgang. In those few seconds he became pitch black. And then so did everything else. Plop. Crack.
The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead. Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Oi, didn't we go over this already? We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water.
Indeed.
Well, when it exploded, that's a different story.
Diana
No.
said she never used the taser, though.
Then she's lying.
What? That's not true. I never fired the gun.
Well, the taser, that was fine.
I believe you.
What? Didn't he say it was fine though?
Nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
I'm actually kind of suspicious of Eva now. I know I said Mark because of the sound. Because this thing, like, he's screaming in there. Wouldn't we have heard that dialogue from the vent? Because it's not that far away. Yeah, the taser gun is it's the generator exploding. And then Eva keeps saying, oh, but it's not the generator. She's really dead set about that. Kind of sus. Mark, Eva.
The generator. What other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else.
No. The true murder weapon. Is it possible there's a third source of electricity we haven't considered yet? Am I grasping at straws by thinking something like that?
The only proof
You're being kind of sus, Eva. What's going on?
Ava, what do you mean?
All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial. The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself.
Oh, Eva. It's not Diana. It's not Diana. Eva, you're being really sus right now.
The same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Hey, hold on. I want to do one. Sorry, I want to just go to one thing quickly. I want to pull up. You won't be able to see it, but I want to find it first. You know, chapter 1. Where's the... I'm trying to look for the gaming tournament photo. Aha. Look at this, guys. Look at this. That's not the best photo, but it's at least something. So this is the gaming room photo. Oh, wait, send me to a video. No, I don't want the video, I just want the photo. This photo here, right? Where is Eva? Right? I know there's nothing they can pinpoint to, like, there's not like a photo taking. I guess Mark's not in it either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark, Grace. Oh no, Grace was in it. Grace was here. Fuck, I wish they can give me a better photo. Yeah, here we go. Why is it always zoomed in? Alright, there we go. Oh my god, you're joking. Oh, I don't want spoilers, but... Give me... I'm gonna get spoilers from this. For fuck's sake. Anyway, you get my point. So, you've got Grace here. You've got Cassie here. Damon's here. Kai's here. Jet's there. Jean's there. Eva's not being seen. I'm guessing Mark's at the DJ set. So Eva had time to go to the vent and do something when we were all distracted. But maybe Mark would have seen because the Mark would have been facing towards it. I don't know. It's a little bit sus. But I'm just, again, there's something to keep track of. Okay. Eva and Mark aren't in this one. I think it could be one of them. And I'm now pointing towards Eva because she's really being like gung-ho now again on, no, it has to be her. So, Eva, what's going on here, mate? I'm just saying, there's something a bit sussy right now.
Couldn't that just mean the same person tricked them?
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that info in mind.
Okay, but who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
Most covert place. Her words do make sense. After all, I choose to meet Toes in the boiler room for that very same reason.
Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer.
That's true, though.
Lies in what destroyed the generator.
What?
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories. Never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case, we can't rule out the generator.
So we have to figure out what destroyed the generator?
Yep. That's the big thing here.
Just throw out ideas?
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley. All right, everyone. Let's put our thinking hats on. If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure. Ready?
No.
On your marks, get set.
Not so bad. Alright, here we go. Okay, so what could have blown up the fucking boiler and generator? Odd smell, shrapnel, taser gun, Wolfgang's hand.
Why did the generator blow up?
Could have just been an
So-
electrical fault.
Let me have a look at extension cord is not on there. Generator. After the generator wires were melted and what remained intact had been completely singed. It's like a bomb went off inside the machine. Or shrapnel. Chunks of an unidentified metal were floating in the water near the generator. So this might be something that blown it up. Please. Attention, please.
A coincidence?
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Did the killer throw something at the generator that made it explode?
Maybe.
It's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical
no.
discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the tape.
No, that's wrong!
Shrapnel, baby. What was that shrapnel? I don't think so.
Unfortunately, Ava, I have to disagree. You say nothing, but the taser could have been involved in the murder.
Yeah, did you even look at the crime scene, bro?
One possibility you didn't consider: the shrapnel in the water.
You mean those bits of red metal which were floating around?
Right. The ones that look like the aftermath of an explosion. Due to their proximity to the generator, it's safe to assume the two are connected.
Can't that just be debris left by the generator?
Except this debris is a completely different color. It lacks the rust the generator has accumulated. We're obviously looking at the remnants of something else, which means an object we haven't yet identified was caught in the explosion.
And floating near it was another This is another out of place item. Extension cord. Extension cord.
This is it.
Yeah.
In the water was also an extension cord, half of which had been burnt away.
Huh? Did the cord get caught in the explosion?
Seems that cord has the misfortune of floating around the wrong place at the wrong time.
From what I saw in my investigation, the building's extension cord supply seems to be kept inside Storage Closet D. So in a way, yeah, it was definitely in the wrong place.
Storage Closet D, huh? It was hard to make out much of it in the dark. And after the power came on, Kai came screaming for us to leave our closets. But I do recall seeing some extension cords peeking out from behind a shelf.
Since we already know the killer raided one storage closet, anyone else willing to bet they raided this one too?
The hell did they need an extension cord for?
Probably something involving the generator, given its proximity to the cord.
Same thing with the red bits, even though we don't know what they are.
Right, the red shrapnel. It definitely isn't debris left by the generator, so what exactly is it? So far, nothing in the boiler room can be directly tied to the shrapnel. At least not by any of the clues that haven't already been discussed in the trial. If I were to flip my thinking and consider the clues we haven't discussed yet, there's no proof what I have in mind is related to the shrapnel, but when all other options are ruled out, I can only turn towards the one that hasn't. The one thing the mysterious shrapnel might be related to. Oh, okay. I don't know.
This is it.
Yeah, the odd smell.
Hold that thought. We may be able to identify the shrapnel using context clues. During the investigation, there was a strange smell permeating the boiler room. It took me a moment to notice, but when I did, well, the best way to describe the scent would be if you mix cereal and alcohol together.
Cereal and alcohol? Talk about specific.
Mm-hmm. 'Tis a sign a chemical reaction was at play.
Wait, you recognize the smell?
And Eva does know. Wait. Eva does know stuff about
Chemical reactions can produce some pretty pungent odors.
She does science as well, so she would know how to use chemical reactions.
Or fruits.
Shit, is that actually Eva? I think it actually might be.
I noticed the smell going into the investigation, but it had completely slipped my mind until now.
Could it be a chemical reaction was caused by the taser?
The gun never touched the water. There's no reason for it to be the source of the smell.
What about the generator?
Considering the state of it, that generator would smell more burnt than anything else.
If the chemical reaction can't be explained by what we already know, like the generator or the taser gun, we need to consider the possibility that the explanation is the one piece of evidence still evading us, the shrapnel.
Can someone translate this into less complicated talk?
It was just a long-winded way of saying he's using process of elimination.
I know it sounds like a stretch, but if you follow this line of reasoning, a lot more questions start getting answered. Think about it. If the smell and shrapnel are linked, then whatever object the shrapnel belongs to must contain chemicals.
So we're looking for a metal object, which is also packed with chemicals?
Surely something like that would be kept inside the pharmacy.
Looking at my notes... When we originally visited the pharmacy, I recorded everything I saw. A bright red metal object would have definitely caught my eye, but I don't see one written here.
I got lots of metallic objects in my dorm room, but nothing chemical. Just big old slabs of metal.
Big old slabs of metal. Why does that sound so familiar? Hold on, that's right. What Ingrid said just now is similar to what she said the night everything began bunking together. Night everyone began bunking together. I guess the world explained my rooms too. It's littered with all sorts of fancy tools and metals. time people were talking about their dorm rooms being themed around their talents. Could it be? Could the shrapnel actually be the remnants of the unique device that guy boasted about having in his room? The only way to know for sure is to put you on the spot. Wait, that guy? Wait. No. One of the louder ones too. Oh, shit. Chet?
It has to be you! Jet, I need to ask you something.
What's up?
Can you tell me what's inside your dorm room?
Like, a full-on list?
Whatever works.
Sure thing. I got a pretty gnarly collection of parts and accessories. Blind spot mirrors, lithium batteries, wheels, spare brakes, you name it. Oh, I even have the legendary mantle from the 1984's Grand Prix winning speedster.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Cool. So, why'd you want to know? Unless... Wait, I'm not being suspected, am I? No. Don't try to roll me into this boat. I've got nothing to do with the murder.
I know you don't. You have an alibi. The only reason I ask. Because that mysterious red
shrapnel
may be the remnants of one of your lithium batteries.
What?
I see. A lithium battery might explain the smell in the air.
And lithium? That's an explosive substance. If it made contact with water, gosh, you'd be left with a mess and a half.
Wouldn't someone have heard an explosion, though?
I did.
Really?
During the tournament. Right before we lost power.
Oi, that's right. That was a burn.
Wait! I remember hearing it too!
I initially assumed the generator made the noise somehow. But if Jet's car batteries contain an explosive substance...
Hey, Jet! Were your batteries bright red at all?
Maybe?
You don't know for sure?
I never took the batteries out of their packaging. The packaging isn't red, I can tell you that, but the actual batteries? Yeah, I got nothing.
So it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Pretty much.
Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery?
The reaction time?
When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust? I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case.
A lithium battery would be an almost instantaneous reaction, I'm pretty sure.
Lithium isn't a metal I've worked with, but it got beat into my head never to mix it with substances it doesn't like. All that electricity, the battery would have let out when it hit the water. It must have went straight into poor Wolfie.
So someone threw it through the vents. Someone had something, threw it through the vents. It exploded the generator and exploded the...
There's warning labels on the battery for a reason.
Okay. If the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded. That's really weird. Is it?
Yeah, well, no. If you're trying to steer this away from like, no, it couldn't happen because there's only 2 people in there. Well, sorry, then you're the killer. You know why? Because you know there's a vent. Both of I looked through it. Well, I looked through it, but you helped me lift up. You know where it is. I guess everyone would be too well known about it, but it's not hard to find. But the one who definitely knows who it is me and you. So it's you, Eva. You're the killer.
Testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun. In which case, who threw the battery into the water?
Huh. Good point. We can roll out Wolfgang, since the Blackens can only be a student who kills another student. And Diana.
It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room. So unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder.
Yeah, it's you. Eva, it's you, Matt.
I promise.
The shrapnel and generator are too close for comfort. They must be correlated. I'll admit that Diana's throwing the battery is a possibility, but that's all it is, a possibility. Yep, it's Eva, guys. I'm calling it right now. It's Eva. Damn, dude. I wouldn't expect it to be her. Like, I was expecting it to be a bit more of an important character, but two big important characters set up in the first chapter. It has to be Eva. Like, who else can it be? Mark? But Mark would know how to do it. Eva would. She's got the talent to know how to do that kind of stuff. So, There may still be another way for the battery to enter the water, and until I've ruled that out, I won't set of a culprit just yet. Alright. Generator, shrapnel, extension cord, taser gun, thin piece of metal.
The battery is related to the case. Only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere. So it must have been
could have.
submerged another way. Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Yeah.
Not the hardest shot to make.
It was good to say the battery was thrown, but when I consider the boiler room and which objects the killer could have leveraged, what that person considers impossible starts to sound anything but.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But
no.
My arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere. So it must have been submerged another way.
I think it could have.
Something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Yeah. Alright, so it's Eva's. Yeah, alright, I think I got it.
The battery is related to the case. Only Diana.
Fuck.
Damon, Diana was the only other person.
Right. Shit, I'm getting kind of fucked up here.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though. The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere.
No, that's wrong!
Alright.
No. The battery might actually have fallen from the generator.
What makes you say that?
The shrapnel's position in front of the generator suggests there's a correlation between the two. However, it's unlikely Diana threw the battery at the generator. Not only is the boiler room difficult to see in, the generator is positioned far enough from the concrete platform that Diana, with her wounded arm, would need to stand on the platform's edge to make the shot, which would obviously put her in danger of being attacked by Wolfgang again.
Yeah. Wolfgang was really close. He could reach over to me if he wanted.
If the battery hadn't been thrown, the only other possibility is that it fell down into the water, And considering the layout of the boiler room,
Are you saying the battery was sitting on top of the generator?
On top, but not on top, but maybe. Opposition was the battery in, suspended over the generator, leaning over the generator. Shit, I really don't know what it could be. It's
got it.
suspended.
the battery may have been suspended over the generator.
Suspended over.
If the battery was suspended by something over the presence of that item, starts to make a lot more sense.
This is it.
Extension cord.
The killer could have tied the extension cord around the battery and slung the battery over the generator. If the cord and battery were tied together at the time of the generator's explosion, it would explain why half of the cord had been burned away.
The more you explain it, the more unbelievable it sounds.
What if that's the point? Maybe the killer chose a crazy method because no one would believe it.
I don't see how weaving a cord into the mix is any more beneficial than leaving it out. If anything, the cord adds extra weight.
Which would be especially inconvenient for Diana, because her arm is bleeding.
Right. It wouldn't benefit Diana to hold the cord. So, what if she didn't? Something else may have been supporting the cord instead.
What could that have been though? Something like... what was holding the cord? Wolfgang was holding the cord, a third person was holding the cord wasn't involved, an object was holding... An object?
I got it.
Yeah, an object. I was like, third person, I was like, no.
Throughout this trial, we've assumed the killer held the battery in some form or another. If the battery was on its own, the killer tossed it in. If the battery was wrapped with a cord, the killer held the other end of the cord.
But what was that object though?
But in the same way something else can hold the battery, can't something else also hold the cord?
Ugh, my head's starting to spin.
Are you talking about something which could keep the cord in place?
Something to keep the cord in place. Imagine the cord and the battery is tied around in front of the generator. It's the same spot where the shrapnel has surfaced. Oh. Vent?
This is it.
Yeah, the vent. You wrap around the vent.
The killer tied the cord to the vent.
What vent?
And then they just, I'm tight. Yep, summon it out. Yep.
The one above the generator.
Man, see, I knew that vent was involved, dude. It's so obvious.
There's a vent above the generator?
You should remember some light shining into the boiler room. That's where the vent is. The vent itself is set a bit far back into the wall. So, you probably assumed the spot was a small window or something.
If the boiler room and the dining hall are separated by one vent, does this make the wallpaper thin, or...?
There's two vents. The boiler room vent.
Yep.
And the dining hall vent.
Dining hall vent. That's
Both are
right. Yeah,
connected
kind of.
via a small ventilation shaft. I was able to get a close look at the boiler room vent after Ava and I woke up, which is why I know these details.
How close is close for someone under 6 foot?
Ava helped me reach the vent,
By?
letting me sit on her shoulders.
Quite the visual.
Don't rub it in.
Anyway, if the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end around the battery, they could suspend the battery over the generator.
Something like that would result in an explosion.
What do you mean?
You say the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end to the battery. However, indoor extension cords are much longer than regular cords. They can be upwards of 9 or more meters in length, as opposed to the average cord's 2 meters. 9 meters is significantly longer than the distance between the vent and the boiler room floor. If the killer wanted to tie the battery to the cord's other end, they would be tying it to something which is already submerged in water.
I see. It is an impossible setup.
Not necessarily. The killer can have great reduce in length of the cord by doing that. Cutting it. Cutting the cord, trying to.
Cut the cord.
Oh, what?
And
could have been the.
Well, not even pliers?
I didn't see.
You believe the.
So this whole.
God damn it.
I got it.
Okay, I guess it's that. I generally thought cutting the cord.
The extension
Someone
cord
could
is
just use
pretty
scissors.
flimsy. If the killer wanted the battery to be secure, they need to wrap a lot of cord around it. Probably to the point there wouldn't be much spare cord remaining. Which is a good thing, because this spare cord is what the battery will be suspended by. So long as the spare cord isn't too long, the battery will sit safely above the water.
So much effort.
Agreed. How do you even submerge the battery into the water under those circumstances?
How simple. Notice in the cord's position. All the killer would need to utilize is a certain aspect of the boiler room. What? The vent. What? Why does it click the vent again?
Like I mentioned earlier, I gave the vent a close look after originally waking up in the boiler room. Part of my inspection included opening the vent to get a better look at the other side.
The vent can be opened?
Not all the way, but far enough for the vent to cause a domino effect if then closed. In our case, a domino effect involving the extension cord tied to it. If we assume the vent must be open for the battery to remain a safe distance above the water, we end up with a pulley system. To prevent the battery from entering the water, the vent is literally pulling the entire cord backwards. Ergo,
So all it takes is someone to
it's not
push
just
it.
the killer's own measurements keeping the battery in place, but the vent itself. Having opened one of these vents before, I can tell you how tough they are to move.
Things are in the grate directly in front of me. I pulled as hard as I could.
A lightweight battery definitely isn't heavy enough to pull one shut. It takes an actual person to close one. Which is great for the killer, because it means they get to maintain full control over when the battery enters the water. If they close the vent, the cord should slide forward and submerge the battery into the water. When that happens, the boiler room water becomes electrified by the battery's components, which in turn causes electricity to pass directly into the body of Wolfgang, who is standing in the water.
Exactly which vent is the cord being tied to?
The
First
boiler
one.
room vent.
Funny. Earlier, you said there's a small vent shaft connecting the boiler room vent to the dining hall vent. Assuming the killer is operating this trap from outside the boiler room, since we know there were only ever 2 people in that room, how would they even be able to reach the boiler room vent? Like you said, there's a separate vent in front of it.
She has a point. It's been assuming the cord is tied to the boiler room vent. But further consider the ventilation shaft. It becomes considerably harder to reach the boiler room vent if we have to reach down the shaft. Not just that, I never tested to see if the boiler room vent can open inwards. I only got this to open outwards. By that logic, a vent on the opposite side of the shaft.
This could only mean one thing. The killer never tied the cord to the boiler room vent. They tied the cord to the dining hall vent.
That just creates the same problem as before, but reversed. Instead of the dining hall vent making it hard to close the boiler room vent, it's the boiler room vent making it hard to reach the dining hall vent.
While the vents may seem like an obstruction, especially since they can't be opened all the way, There's a very easy workaround. All the killer needs to do is fit the extension cord between the grates of the boiler room vent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the grates. You mentioned something about them earlier. Right. When you described opening the boiler room vent.
Remember things around the grate directly in front of me. I pulled as hard as I could.
If you can fit your fingers between the grates, there's no damn way you can't fit a cord.
Yeah, but can you fit the head of a cord though? Can you fit like the adapter part? I don't think so.
Exactly. After which, you can slide the cord through the ventilation shaft and out the opposite end for the killer to then go and tie to the...
Actually...
Yeah, the fucking adapter, that's what he's gonna say, right?
Hello?
What is it now?
There's something I still don't understand about your theory. It's to do with the logistics of the cord.
The logistics?
Its size.
We're discussing this again. Never mind, I'll find a way to combat this argument, just like I've done countless times already. Alright. Now what would it be though? Knife, blackout, generator.
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
I don't see a problem here. The killer doesn't even need to open that vent, because they could simply slide the cord between the grates.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can the killer fit both those plugs between the gaps in the vent grate? Either the boiler room vent was never involved, or it was open at some point, and someone else closed it. That is my issue.
His argument might have made sense if it weren't for one fatal flaw.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't.
I'll cut through those words!
If you insert the cord through the boiler room vent first, it's possible to fit the cord through. You just need to start with the internal plug. The cords in storage closet D have a slim internal end. This can easily be slid through the gaps in the vent. Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent...
I see. When put like that, whether or not
keep
the
fucking
boiler
clicking too
room vent
fast.
was closed isn't really relevant.
Killer storage closet D has a slim internal vent. Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent, presumably with a knot, the cord won't be at risk of sliding back out either.
How'd you figure all this out from some shrapnel and an extension cord? This is crazy.
Because I'm a fucking genius, that's why.
What he's describing sounds plausible.
Since the battery was suspended over the generator, it's no surprise the machine ended up the way it did. Fortunately for Diana, she was safe by virtue of remaining on the platform. I imagine that was also the killer's intention.
The killer kept her on the platform?
They must have known they were injecting Wolfgang with a hallucinogenic. So, it's possible they hoped his behavior would scare Diana off from entering the water. Although, even if Diana did die, the moment people realized only she and Wolfgang entered the boiler room, they'd probably call the whole thing a murder gone wrong.
Well, all of this certainly changes things.
Huh?
If the killer is someone who needed access to
This is the vent.
and needed to be operating from the dining hall, then everyone who attended the tournament is a suspect.
What?
That's right.
No way!
One of the tournament attendees is the killer. Damn it, how did I not realize sooner? Bro, I realized straight away. I was like, it has to be someone at the attendee. It's either that or Diana, but Diana was too obvious. The fact that the killer could have accessed the vent means that they must have been in the dining hall at the time of Wolfgang's murder.
Down to 8 people. Damon, Kai, Grace, Eva, Cassidy, Jed, Mark, and John.
I think it has to be Eva. It just makes sense.
Probably Cassidy. She set the whole thing up.
Hey, I was only trying to improve the mood.
It wasn't me. I was playing a game with Damon when the lights went out.
That's right.
I had to play music.
Me too.
You never touched my equipment.
I meant I was watching Kai and Damon play.
I was spectating as well.
Me too.
Me 3. And Cass 2, I think. I was too focused on the game to remember who was or wasn't there.
If everyone's telling the truth, then all 8 of y'all were crowded round the same spot?
Near the right wall where the TV was set up.
Seems like someone is lying again.
The tournament participants who flipped the vent. I could deduce who that person is by determining everyone's position directly before the blackout. The problem is I myself had been totally preoccupied with the game. I never got a good look at the actual people around me. Never got a good look. Wait, is that it? Well, I never got a good look at the others. I still deduced their general positions and if they were near me, from whenever or not I heard them. Think, Damon, think. Who and what did I hear back then? It was you. The only person I never heard was you, Eva. Yep. You're coming to me, Eva. You're gone. It's you! I knew it! I knew it!
The killer is Eva.
Eva.
Huh?
Ava's the only one whose position I can't account for. Mark was mixing a track at the time Kai and I were playing a game. So I know he must have been stationed at his pad. And everyone else? I remember hearing their voices over the sound of the game. Everyone. Except Ava. In fact, the last I saw her, she was standing in the corner of the room with the vent.
Yeah, she was closest to the vent.
Oh man! And the reason no one heard it is because the music was too loud!
Don't blame me. I was just doing what I was told.
No one's blaming you. We're all in on Eva.
Care to contribute anything, Eva?
I didn't flip the vent.
Well, Damon says you did.
Damon says a lot of things.
Oh, she's gonna say.
Aren't technically wrong. I don't think that counts as an argument.
His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out.
What plot holes?
The cord.
What?
In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it?
Trick question. You left the cord tied to the vent.
What then? It unraveled by itself and fell into the water?
Yeah, you got me there.
That's true, we only got... How did Eva get rid of the cord? I'm sure it's possible if she knew to untie it at the right time. When did Eva untie the cord? When everyone left? Before the blackout? During the blackout?
I got it.
During the blackout, yeah. Duh.
To dispose of the cord. You just untied it during the blackout.
She untied the knot during a blackout?
Being the one who set up the trap, Ava could have easily practiced untying the knot in advance. Or she just made it a really simple knot. Either way, it wouldn't be any more difficult than untying your shoelaces with your eyes closed.
If Ava untied the cord, did it also fall into the water?
Diana's testimony says as much.
It does?
During your confrontation with Wolfgang, you recounted hearing certain sounds.
I give up until the word knows. I give up. Boom. Yeah, so there was he falls. Yep. Well.
The first sound was obviously the battery exploding. And the second, when you first recounted the story, you said it was the sound of the knife hitting the water. But why would a thin knife make such a big splash?
Then, do you think...
What really caused that sound was probably the extension cord falling into the water.
When you say it that way, it does seem likelier.
I should have known. The kid who lied about her talents and tried to lie about the Tozy trinkets. I should have known. I should have known only Eva fucking Sadaka would kill Wolfgang!
You're right that Eva's lied to us several times already.
But she's just a mathlete. How did someone like her
Nah,
come up with
she-
something this complicated?
Her
She's
talent
smarter than she looks.
would give her the upper hand in all that measurement nonsense.
Even so, the sheer volume of items Eva had to steal. She's been under heavy suspicion these past few days. How did she sneak into Jet and Desmond's rooms without being noticed?
It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes. I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery.
Right on. No one steals from me.
They already did.
And anyway, how could I enter the core through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students.
Some why people are doubtful, but I can't let this conversation continue like this. Eva did in fact have a way to reach the vent. All she had to use boxes?
Ava
No,
grabbed
fuck.
one of the boxes on the concrete platform.
Oh, the cardboard boxes,
and
duh.
placed it next to the generator.
You're joking.
That's... I'm spot he then the...
This is it.
Railing, I guess.
Ava, to reach the top of the generator, you simply stood on one of the boxes in the boiler room. There's already a huge pile of them near the generator itself. You could easily push one up against the machine.
She would have known about those boxes in advance, too. Since she explored the boiler room with you ahead of time.
Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator. And I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those things without attracting suspicion. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent.
Which vent are we talking about?
The dining hall one. Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, and opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up.
Oh yeah, you're right. If there was an open vent with a cord tied to it, I would have noticed for sure.
Now that Eva mentions it, I'm pretty sure the vent was closed during setup.
See,
The vent was closed?
There's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
What the? That's...
Can it, you four-eyed troll! You can't talk your way out of this one!
Bullshit.
Only person who would be sick-minded enough to kill Wolfgang is you, and only you! Don't you fucking try and tell me otherwise!
Alright. What do we need to find out here, I wonder?
You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent.
It seems to be pretty good evidence to me.
Wolfgang exposed you for the snake you are, and you despised him because of it. You have a motive!
Perhaps our understanding of the mechanism is wrong? Maybe it wasn't closing the vent that triggered it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence to prove that?
Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord with a special knot which can untie by itself after a bit of time passes.
There's even less evidence for that!
No one here cares about evidence. I just had the game tournament.
No, that's wrong!
No. It's no coincidence you were at the game tournament. In fact, it's not even a coincidence the tournament took place during the murder.
What do you mean?
It was impossible for me to notice this earlier. But the killer timed the tournament so it would grant them an alibi for the murder.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you accusing me of murder again? I thought you said Ava was the culprit.
The detective isn't supposed to switch suspects in the last stretch like this. You're totally throwing the audience for a loop, and not in a good way.
Yeah, it was Ava who decided to make it in the morning.
Except neither of you played a role in determining what time the tournament would be held. The only person to determine that was Ava.
By the time I did most of my study at 9 AM, the brain is almost active and ready to absorb information around that time. I think this effect could help our video game skills. Tony, huh? That'll be the first time. Sure, let's do 9 AM, 1 hour after the morning announcement.
Ava knew she would be in the dining hall tomorrow. So when Cassidy announced the tournament, she realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create an alibi for herself.
That's insane. How could she have come up with something like that on the spot?
It wasn't just for an alibi either. Since Ava knew about the tournament, she could time the setup of her trap accordingly.
To answer questions of why neither Cassidy, Jet, nor Mark noticed the open vent, when I think back to what Cassidy told me earlier today, before the tournament began, I can discern exactly when Eva opened the vent. Breakfast on the
I got it.
Stacking on the furniture. They're stacked in the corner.
Cassidy, you told me Ava approached you yesterday and asked to help set up the tournament. What exactly did she say?
When did I tell you this again?
Before the tournament?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, Eva wanted to see what sort of equipment the tournament needed. After I showed her Mark's stuff and told her we were redecorating the dining hall, she offered to help.
Back when this conversation happened, you still hadn't decided what time you were going to start redecorating, right?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. You don't really help me out, though. She said she would stack the dining hall furniture we weren't going to use later that night. Afterwards, we could focus purely on arranging the technical stuff in the morning.
All right. Then tell me what happened last night.
Jet, Mark, Eva, and I came to the dining hall at around 8:40 p.m. probably. We stacked the table and the dining chairs against the left wall, and the sofas we moved to the middle of the room, maybe a little more to the right. Then we all went back to our dorms. Well, I was kind of hungry, so I stayed back a few minutes before leaving.
Hold the phone! If those sofa chairs were moved to the middle of the room, why did I see one over in the corner this morning?
Because Eva pushed it there.
Eva what?
She didn't want to take part in the tournament. Just watch it from the side. That's what she told me. I never thought it was weird or anything. Some people just like sticking to the walls of rooms, you know?
We're talking about the sofa in the upper left corner, aye? The one next to the coffee table.
Yes, sirree, Bob.
Yo, when the power went out, I'm pretty sure Damon ran over to that corner to look through... Yeah, a vent!
Did she move the chair there so it would be easier to reach the vent later?
Why would I when Cassidy just said the vent was closed during setup?
Because you were covering for yourself in advance.
Huh?
The vent may not have been open at the time, but I'm willing to bet that's because you were still creating your trap.
In what way?
Let's say Ava took a detour for the boiler room first, and slid the internal plug through both vents. After going upstairs and helping rearrange the dining hall furniture, during which she moves a sofa chair so it obscures the vent, she heads outside and hides until everyone else goes to bed. Then, she walks back in and opens the vent.
So Eva took complete advantage of them?
Not my fault those two are so trusting.
You think a big guy like me was gonna be afraid of some mathlete? No way!
I mean, she did lie about a lot of important things. Her talent being one of them.
She also cried and fled the scene after we found out, no?
I just thought it was cool. She wanted to help me out.
Hey, can we backtrack a little? Like, to before all this Ava talk?
Why? What happened?
It's to do with the chair's position. You guys
Chair?
keep saying it was in front of the vent, but Damon stood in front of the vent during the blackout. If the chair was in the position you all say it was, it should have blocked him from crouching in front of the vent.
Ava probably just moved it during the blackout.
Eh?
Before the blackout, it was positioned with its back to the left wall. However, when I ran over to the vent, the chair was suddenly pushed up against the northern wall, out of the vent's range. Ava must have shifted the chair while everyone was initially panicking from the blackout. I'm guessing she hoped people would misremember its position and think it was always along the northern wall.
Oh man! So I totally fell for it?
Yep.
I also remember seeing a speaker in that corner.
Yeah, about that. This morning, Jet, Mark, and I arrived at the dining hall a little after 8 a.m., then Eva came a few minutes later. She helped us put together Mark's equipment, which was stationed in the lower right corner of the room. And then she volunteered to place speakers around the room while Jet and I set up the TV next to the fireplace.
Moving a speaker near the vent. Did Eva do that to drown out Diana and Wolfgang's scuffle?
Yeah, and in turn exacerbate the effects of the other
there you go.
speakers. There were almost a dozen spread throughout the dining hall. Some even sandwiched into corners they didn't need to be. Ava probably placed them that way to cover as much ground as possible.
Still, Eva entered the dining hall at 8:10 a.m., right? So wouldn't it be impossible for her to knock out Lawyer Man at 8:15 a.m.?
According to Ava, she arrived around 8:10 a.m. But it's possible she actually arrived much later. Since there's no clock in the dining hall, he just couldn't have known. In fact, that might be why Ava seemed so eager to arrange Mark's equipment in the morning. Upon realizing it had a clock, she wanted to ensure it would only be powered on after she arrived.
It seems the setup of this trap occurred across 3 phases. Phase 1 took place in the boiler room and involved tying a lithium battery to an extension cord. The cord was then slid through the grates of the closed boiler room vent, presumably until it almost poked out the other end of the ventilation shaft. Phase 2, by contrast, was carried out in the dining hall. The aforementioned cord was tied around the dining hall vent, which was then left open. This must have happened after Cassidy, Mark, and Jet were already done redecorating. For the third and final phase, the battery was carefully suspended over the generator. All these steps combined created a pulley system, which could only be triggered by closing the dining hall vent. Is there anything I'm missing?
How I closed the vent.
Huh?
No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent. Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement. It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice.
How did he overlook such an obvious discrepancy?
He was right. Staying up would look really suspicious. Which is exactly why she used that to circumvent the problem. What could it have been?
This is it. The location of your chair bypasses this problem entirely. To close the vent, all you need to do is set the chair to recline and reach behind you.
Set the chair to recline?
All the dining hall chairs have the ability to recline. Some were already set to that position at the start of the tournament, including Ava's. her chair and recline, Ava can easily reach down and close the vent without shifting from her position. It's not perfectly inconspicuous, but it's subtle enough to not catch most people's attention, especially those focused on watching a video game competition. Well, am I wrong?
This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism.
No one can sneak up behind you without drawing attention, especially when all the lights were still on.
That's just dumb! Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer.
Even so, with everything we've spoken about...
Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier? Just look at all the items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff?
That's true. We still haven't explained how she robbed 2 people's rooms without being caught.
Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer.
Fine. I'll show proof. Only you could obtain the items necessary for this murder.
How did Eva obtain the items?
I got it.
Eva had Desmond's blackmail.
Ava, you were well aware of the existence of those items. For starters, everyone heard about Jet's battery. It was common knowledge due to his boasting.
Wait, so it's all my fault?
Since the dorms aren't locked, you could have easily snuck in and grabbed the battery while no one was inside. The battery is lightweight, so you wouldn't have trouble carrying it. For the rest of your plan, the syringe and drugs are both readily available in the pharmacy. And as for the taser, you may not have known about its existence right away, but you still had every incentive to search Desmond's room, because you received his blackmail.
Eva? You knew my blackmail this whole time and never said anything?
So what?
Huh?
So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well.
Oh yeah, he read it out loud to everyone earlier, didn't he?
Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets. He knew all sorts of things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence.
I had his blackmail, and this didn't come up.
What are you talking about?
See, you still don't know. You still don't know that we never saw eye to eye.
Huh?
Eye to eye... on the not killing each other stuff?
On Wolfgang. Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy, and he thought I hated him the same way he did. But unlike Damon, I never wanted Wolfgang to die.
What the?
Whoa! That's a loaded accusation.
Not a first for this trial.
If you thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial, you underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally. But in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh, gosh.
Told you I should have brought it up.
Any
Either you.
reason you didn't tell us this earlier?
Well, I didn't think it was incriminating at first.
Not even when he refused to come forward about it?
That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands.
Damon, do you have your blackmail on you? Don't worry about reading it out loud or anything. You just show the image. That's all you gotta do.
Did Eva really never trust me? Why then did she disclose so much to me? Why did she tell me? It's because I trust you. Yeah, because she wants to set me up as the if her plan didn't go awry, she would have me as the final. Because she knew I was smart, so she wanted to take the next smart guy out. So she took Wolfgang out, and Deanna also had a good head on her shoulders. She wanted to have her be a rough. then the next person as her failsafe, if she didn't succeed or if something went to blame on her, she wanted to make sure Damon could have been the next person to as a scapegoat, as a sense. So that's why she brought me into a trust. Very deceitful person you are, Ava, whatever it is. No, this can't be at the forefront of my mind right now. I'm on the cusp of bringing this case to a close. What Eva thinks about me shouldn't matter. What she thinks about me. You took my side way back at the beginning, remember? We were only people who refused to listen to that lawyer, and you helped solve the mystery behind that whole case. No one thanked you, though. I'm really sorry about how things turned out. The other students wouldn't have treated you unfairly if it wasn't for me. She really is the ultimate liar. Give her that. Damn it. This entire time I've been judging the others for how trusting they are, not even realizing I was blindly following the words of a stranger. And now everyone's here, they're going to hold this blackmail crap against me, even more than if I'd just come forward earlier. Even so, what choice do I have? No one will let the discussion continue unless I tell the truth.
Fine. I'll show it. But only the picture. As requested.
With those words, I retrieved the envelope from my pocket and pulled out the photo.
He's married.
Ingrid, Wolfgang doesn't have blue eyes.
So, who is this then? His parents?
I mean, why else would the guy look like him?
Given the year this photo was taken, these two people must be his parents. Look at what's printed at the bottom. April 17th, 2001. We know how old Wolfgang is because of the student reports. In 2001, he wasn't even born yet.
But why his parents? Are they being held against their will?
You can't leave us hanging, Damo! You gotta read out what it says!
That's not what was asked of me. And even if I had to, I don't think someone who can't explain himself should have his secrets revealed to everyone.
Some things are better left unsaid.
For the record, I know what Wolfgang's blackmail says, but it didn't change my outlook on him. I don't think it's possible for anyone to hate someone like Wolfgang. He was always brave in the face of sheer adversity, and encouraged everyone else to act likewise. Wolfgang challenged me to be a better person. Wolfgang challenged all of us to be better people, and maybe Ava simply couldn't rise to his challenge.
Don't listen to him! He's trying to divert everyone from the truth!
Even though Wolfgang and I didn't always see eye to eye, my respect for him and his talent never wavered. Why would someone like me harm him? Me, who's been leading this trial much the same way he led the one before. I may have questioned the idea no one here would kill, but that doesn't make me someone who wants to see bloodshed.
He does! He does want bloodshed! We have all the proof he's a cold-blooded killer! Wolfgang's blackmail, which he lied about having!
But wasn't Damon playing?
Nothing he says should be trusted. Nothing he says about me, or anything else.
It is odd that he places faith in a man who does not have faith in us. So much so, these discussions are mostly led by his own conjecture.
Damon isn't the killer, though. Why would he try to mislead anyone? Like, he and I were playing a game when the murder happened, and multiple people can vouch for us.
Not to mention, the things he's been saying make a lot of sense.
Truth has no personal alliance. That's why.
Even if he wasn't here, we'd arrive at the same conclusion anyway.
Depends who you mean by we.
Then, you all still think I'm the killer?
Someone needs to be voted by the end of this.
Don't just say it like that!
My ears!
How would I know? How would I know when to drop it?
Drop what?
The battery! Damon says the killer dropped the battery when Diana was already in the boiler room. But how would I know when Diana was in the boiler room? It's not as if I could listen out
hear
for
it?
her. The music speakers are too loud. And
Probably if you're close enough, you could.
no clocks, so it'd be impossible for me to know if it was 8:45 a.m.
Right. Only Mark's DJ pad had a clock.
Maybe Ava asked Mark for the time.
She never spoke to me.
We never spoke! I never even got up from my chair!
Here we go.
Besides, how could I be sure Diana arrived on time anyway? If you can't explain how I knew when
to drop the battery. Then shut up and stop accusing me!
It makes a decent point. How does she drop the battery in time? Did she just rely on a chance? No, that doesn't seem likely. Her entire plan falls if the timing isn't right. Come on, think. If my years of debate have taught me anything, I need to look at this from one other angle. If I just take it from the top while assuming Eve is the killer. She saw her?
I got it.
She just look in the vent.
The only way the killer would have known when to spring their trap was by seeing Diana enter the room. Any uncertainty would ruin the plan, and the dining hall was too loud to hear anything over.
So where did she watch Diana from? There are only two possible places. The vent. Security camera.
Trying to look into the...
Fuck, I'm on 1 health. Wait, what? The security camera.
This is it.
Wait.
It's impossible to see anything from the vent, which means the only way anyone could see into the room was by using the school cameras.
Say what?
I don't understand how, but Ava must have used the camera.
Is she working with the kidnappers?
Are you kidding me? How the hell would I have access to the camera?
We'll actually see what was happening on the security cameras, what Eva needs access to. Naturally, it would have to be some sort of screen. A screen, huh? Think back on all the various clues we discussed. I can't pinpoint anything which could provide an answer to that question. Huh? Feels like deja vu, doesn't it? When all other options are ruled out, I can only turn towards the one which still remains. The one thing we've yet to discuss. Eva, it's time I bring an end to what you started. What? Blackout. We still haven't really discussed when she hit the rolling pin, though. Wait. There's still a lot of holes. We don't know when the rolling pin was used, right? We knew it got used, but she was in. Oh, I'm confused. Okay, I don't know. It's time to bring this to the end. For better or for worse, this one will be your final life. Woohoo, it's time to solve the final piece of the puzzle. However, it won't be about a fight. Announcing argument, altercation, sorry. In this game, you and your opponent battle each other in a bullet hell extravaganza. Dodge your opponent's attacks, shoot down their arguments, and solve the case. Use WSD key to move and the space key to fire noise bullets. You can also focus by pressing left shift, okay. Which will slow, okay. Your opponents will fire their own bullets, so be sure to make sure your ability strategically to avoid damage. They will also make statements of their own, which can appear as orange text. Oh, they also start the game with a shield, meaning they cannot be damaged by any means. But worry not, you can weaken their shield by breaking their statement with your bullets. Breaking the statement also changes your mega bullets. Charges your mega bullets. You'll want to press F key to fire that one. Okay. So okay. Why? Well, it's the only way to damage your opponent. If you miss, don't worry, just break more stamens in order to recharge your Mega Bullets. After a certain amount of hits, you will progress to the next stage of battle, and your opponent will become more frenzied and their attacks even wilder. Once they finally run out of HP, your opponent will then ask you their burning question. Press WASD in the correct order to solve the case. If you fail, you will have to start over from the last stage of the battle. However, losing all your HP will force you to restart from the very beginning, which I will probably do. So I suggest you don't do that. This is quite a lot of information, so feel free to press F2 in order to refresh yourself. Well, say have fun, but your life actually depends on it, so get going. Alright, so this is... Alright, okay.
This isn't fair. This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
What the fuck?
Why would I? Who cares about the camera? This isn't fair. I didn't
Bro, this
see anything.
It's kind of sick though.
I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help. I didn't see anything.
Oh wait, so Mega Bullets have to hit... Okay, I get it. So I have to hit her with the Mega Bullet.
There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. This isn't fair. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. It's Damon who's suspicious. I did.
I get it.
No
It's kind of hard to hit her though. She's... Oh, fuck me.
It's Damon who's suspicious. I just
Oh wait, I have a... Oh wait, I have a new bit of health.
I just wanted to help. Who cares about the camp? It's Damon who's suspicious. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. I just wanted to... Damon, I thought you trusted me. I didn't see anything. I didn't see
Oh what?
anything.
You're joking. Oh, you're joking.
I just wanted to help.
Inverted controls? Get
Why
fucked.
would I kill anyone? Who cares about the cam? There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Who cares about the camera? Who cares about the camera? It's Damon who's suspicious. It's Damon who's suspicious.
Oh my god.
Who cares about the camera? It's Damon who's suspicious. Why would I kill anyone?
Fuck me.
Who cares about the camera?
I dead? This is hard. What the fuck?
This isn't fair. I didn't see anything. This isn't fair. I didn't see. Ouch. It's Damon who's suspicious.
Bro, this is like fucking Cuphead, dude. What's going on here?
Wanted to help. There's no proof I didn't see
Fuck you.
anything. This isn't fair. It's Damon who's suspicious. This isn't fair. I didn't see anything. I thought you trusted me. It's Damon who's It's
Oh my
Damon
God.
who's suspicious.
Come on, man. Really?
Why would I kill anyone? It's Damon who's suspicious. This isn't ouch. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything.
Fuck off.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. This isn't fair. I just wanted to help. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Why won't you believe me?
Because you stink.
I just
You
wanted
fucking
to help.
lie. You lie.
About the camera.
Okay, shit.
Why would I kill anyone?
I've never been good at this type of games. Me?
I didn't see.
What was that came up?
Who cares about the camera? This isn't fair. It's Damon who's I didn't see anything. This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
Fuck, almost.
I didn't
What?
see
That hit me?
It's Damon who's suspicious. How could I access the security camera? Why would I kill
Oh, his game console.
I didn't see
Fuck me.
Why would I kill It's Damon who's suspicious. It's Damon who's suspicious.
His game
Cares about the
console.
camera? There's
Fuck,
no
I'm actually
proof
gonna
I
lose. Actually, one more hit, one more hit, one more hit.
I just wanted to help. It's Damon who's suspicious.
Oh, what?
How could I access the security
Eva's
camera?
personal game console. Yes. Yes. I was like, what?
No! Don't kill me!
Oh, you're dead.
What you said was true, Ava. Whether or not the trap works depends on if the
But
killer
how does
can see
she-
inside the boiler room. Which begs the question, how does the killer see inside? They can't just get on their knees and peek through the vent. Everyone in the dining hall would notice. Besides, the vent probably offers very little in the way of an actual view of the room.
Exactly! It's impossible!
Right. It's impossible. From this particular angle. If I switch perspectives, your entire argument comes completely undone.
What do you mean?
Ava assumes I'm taking only one factor into account. Her position at the time of Wolfgang's murder. Little does she know that in ruling out that factor, she's led me straight to another. A certain item which could have granted her the ability to see inside the boiler room. An item that, like the chemical smell, only makes sense when all other options have been ruled out. The game console she brought with her to the tournament.
Ava had a game console?
She wanted to get in the spirit of the tournament without being directly involved. Or so she claimed. But when every other option has been ruled out, what else can we look to but the one that's yet to be addressed?
Are you saying she saw inside the boiler room using the console?
So we played live footage of the room?
Sounds like a stretch.
If I'm wrong, Ava should be able to prove her innocence. Go on, Ava. Show us the console.
Huh?
I don't think she has the console on her, dude.
She has to. She never had an opportunity to slink away and dispose of it.
What about the blackout?
When the blackout first hit, people were disorientated for about a minute at most. Ava likely spent those 60 seconds undoing the cord and moving the chair. Between then and now, she's never been alone. The only exception was when she and I split up to investigate the dining hall. However, the laundry room, dining hall, and courtyard all had people in them. So I doubt she hid the console in any of those rooms. And the janitor closet? That room has been locked for days now. She obviously couldn't hide the console there. Which means it must still be on her person. Like I said earlier, if I'm wrong about the console, you can take it out right now and show everyone its contents.
What are you waiting for? Quit hiding the stupid thing and show it!
You're just trying to make me look bad. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous of me. You're jealous of me and my talent. That's all you are. Jealous.
Hey, calm down.
Why not just pull out the console?
Yes, show us the console and then you'll be done with this.
No! I don't have to show anyone anything.
That's the most suspicious thing you could say.
It's not suspicious. I'm telling the truth.
That's obviously a lie.
Why go through the effort of mentioning Wolfgang's blackmail if you won't reveal this?
Now that I think back on it, Ava had been staring at her console the entire tournament. I thought it was weird. Coming all the way over to the dining hall when she could have just stayed in her dorm.
Well, where did she obtain this console? We should discuss those details before continuing any more with these accusations.
She said she won it from Tozu's gachapon.
Seems natural he would stock that machine with dangerous items. With this being a killing game and all.
Between 14 impossible culprits and one possible killer, there's no need to sort out the facts further. Ava, you're the only one we can vote for.
That's such twisted logic. You're going to vote for me without being completely sure I'm even guilty?
There's no need to be completely sure, if no one else can be suspected.
In case anyone still doubts Ava is the killer, I'll go through the case one last time. And once
Yeah, I
all the
will.
pieces are laid out
I still don't get the rolling pin though, because we didn't really go over that fully. We know it was used and put away, but we never knew when. And yeah, when was it used? Alright, so when did Wolfgang and Deanna the lockout? Who took the knife from the... Who took the knife from the kitchen? Syringe. Which end of the cord was slid through the vent? So the killer arrived, okay. They left that, eh? So why did Wolfgang take the knife?
This is how
though?
it happened.
If he was thinking it was going to be a friendly conversation, which, well, we don't know.
This case was directly incited by the motive Tozu introduced, in which everyone here received another person's blackmail.
What was her black? And who had her blackmail? Would it have been... So Wolfgang... No, Wolfgang had genes. So who had... Because we still don't really fully know why she killed him. Like, what was her motive? Like... Yeah, like, it could have been the blackmail, but who did... Yeah, did Deanna have the blackmail, maybe? That's why I want to frame it? I don't know.
Amidst the chaos that spawned, the killer saw an opportunity to commit a murder. They sent letters to two people, Wolfgang Akide, who they planned to kill, and Diana Venezia, who they planned to frame. Wolfgang and Diana were asked to meet in the boiler room in 2 days' time. Wolfgang's letter told him to arrive at 8:15 a.m., while Diana's told her to arrive at 8:45
They are the two most gullible people. Well, not gullible, most trusting, we'll say.
Threatened to expose our blackmail, so we had no choice but to follow their instructions.
At this point, the killer probably knew the way they were going to kill Wolfgang. Hence, how they reacted to this next piece of information. The following morning, it was revealed that Cassidy and Jet were going to hold a game tournament.
The point was for people to spend time together and not think murdery thoughts. But... And how? The killer emboldened their own plans and made it so the tournament would happen at 9 a.m.
Did you just agree with yourself?
Both Wolfgang and Diana turned down the offer, which must have been music to the killer's ears, since it confirmed their plan was working. The killer took this as a sign to commence the next phase of their plan. Later that evening, they went downstairs to the boiler room, began preparing the murder weapon.
Though it might be more accurate to call it a murder mechanism, the killer wrapped an extension cord as tightly as they could around a car battery, which been stolen from Jet's room. I imagine the battery must have been sitting on top of the generator. Wouldn't want to risk an explosion by bringing lithium too close to the water.
The killer avoided opening the boiler room vent for this segment, probably because they knew I'd remember it being closed originally.
A crucial part of the killer's plan would involve sliding the cord through the boiler room vent and out the other end into the dining hall. So they could then walk upstairs to the dining hall and tie the protruding part of the cord to the dining hall vent.
Funnily enough, the killer was going to be needed in the dining hall very shortly.
Yeah, to help Cass and me rearrange the dining hall's furniture. We were saving the whole thing for next morning, but they convinced us to do it that night instead.
Their intentions were threefold. Create an alibi, hide the vent with a piece of furniture, and then open the vent in secret. After which, they'd return to the boiler room and suspend the battery over the generator.
Which brings us to today. Knowing better than to head downstairs without protection, Wolfgang went to the kitchen and armed himself with a knife. Toshiko didn't notice a knife on him when the two met in the hallway, so he must have hidden it in his blazer.
Wolfgang arrived inside the boiler room at 8:15 a.m., exactly like his letter requested. As he was waiting, the killer snuck up behind him.
And he got smacked right in the head with that steel rolling pin and crumpled like paper.
You know what's funny? When I did my prediction, I predicted that Wolfgang would kill Eva in the 5th trial, and it's reverse. It's Eva killed Wolfgang in the 1st trial. So that's a pretty interesting prediction I made. I knew that somehow they would be involved together.
With a sleeping drug.
Didn't realize it'd be so early
In
though.
the boiler room until Diana arrived.
The killer might have, left the taser on the floor around this time.
Yeah, the taser they swiped from my dorm. They must have decided to raid the place after receiving my blackmail. If I'd heard about the taser sooner, I could have gotten rid of it, as well as whatever else my blackmail supposedly mentions.
Save the angsting for later, will you?
Anyway, back on topic. Wolfgang was left to lie in the partially flooded area of the boiler room, while the killer ran upstairs to help set up Mark's music equipment.
They didn't care about the equipment. They just wanted to put a speaker next to the vent, because it would drown out the fight which was gonna happen later.
Don't forget the digital clock! They wanted to get there before that became available. Don't need people knowing what time you actually arrived.
My letter said to meet at 8:45 a.m. So that's when I got to the boiler room.
But why was she there for like 50 minutes
I made
though?
sure to close the door behind me, just as the message told me to.
Bad idea. Killer flipped the doorknob so that the lock was on the outside instead of the inside. You locked yourself in!
The room was really dark too. I didn't even see the suspended battery, only the blinking security camera. And then, Wolfgang, he got up on his feet all of a sudden, and he started crying and saying these weird things. I tried to keep him calm and asked him to come over to me, which he actually did. But the very next second, he attacked me with his knife.
The drugs probably gave him a frightening hallucination, and he perceived you as a threat.
He was screaming at me, and I was screaming back. No one from the tournament could hear us over the music. At one point, I even picked up the taser, but then I threw it back down again.
And that's when the killer decided it was time. Having set their chair to recline, they were able to casually reach down and close the vent behind them. This lowered the extension cord, causing the car battery to enter the water and discharge a huge amount of electricity. Wolfgang, who was still standing in the water, was electrocuted instantly. The battery itself exploded upon reacting with the water, which the killer was likely banking on as a way to destroy evidence. All of this happened right under my nose. No one could have guessed that someone present at the tournament was committing murder.
The explosion also damaged the generator and caused the blackout. Everyone ended up stumbling around in the dark.
Not for long, though. We quickly came back to our senses and agreed to look for a backup generator on the underground floor.
I used a hairpin to unlock the boiler room door and ran outside, but you guys had already made it downstairs.
That's when you say you ducked around a corner and out of sight. Only after everyone went inside the closets did you then dash upstairs.
It's a good thing she did. Otherwise, we'd have found her alone in her room with Wolfgang's dead body. We would have wrongly assumed Diana was the killer, and died as a result. This complicated scheme calls to mind only one person. One person who just so happened to be sitting in a certain sofa chair. That person is you, Ava Sunaka.
Got him.
It's over. Ava, we know the truth.
It's not fair. This isn't fair.
Sorry, darling. You tried to kill. You killed someone. You'll get found out. Fuck around and find out, as they say. Or FAFO. Class trial end. Alright.
My blood is rushing.
Wonderful, brilliant, spectacular. You have seen beyond the foul lies of this scurrant mathematician, and delivered the honourable truth with the wit and aplomb. This is worthy of praise. Allow me to reward your success with... Can you shut your mouth? Can you shut up? Oh? About Tozu's mad rambling, the trial room had gone completely silent. Everyone was either staring at the floor or sneaking nervous glances at each other. Ah, I understand the reason for this frosty atmosphere. You found out who done it, so now you wish to know why done it.
Such a spoil sport.
Very well. Every murder mystery needs a motive, and I would be loath to break the tradition at this stage.
There must be something.
Eva, why did you do this? Just why?
Come on.
Come on, speak up. You have nothing to lose now. It was Tozu. Huh? Tozu made me do it. What? You've been working with Tozu this entire time? Me and her? Oh, please. If her plan was secretly infiltrated the killing game, she wouldn't have given herself such an attention-grabbing ultimate title. I mean, seriously, ultimate liar. Talk about on the nose. Oh, Eva, it's just as much of a kidnappee as the rest of you. Shut up! You let her get away with breaking the rules. That's proof enough you're in cahoots. Huh? Eva broke the rules? Yeah, when she blew up school fucking property. Why the fuck was I punished for chucking a rock at a camera, but Eva wasn't punished for fucking destroying a generator? Shit, is Eva the exception that the rule was talking about? What? Desmond tapped the screen of the trinket and conjured a familiar square-shaped hologram. With a few swipes of his finger, he located the killing game's rules. Okay, yeah. Everyone takes a look at the screen rules. The second rule. She is not allowed to vandalize any official killing game properties such as the cameras and Tozu's trinkets. Exceptions may apply. Do you see how it says exceptions may apply at the end? Since Eva wasn't punished for breaking the generator, could that mean she counts as an exception?
Stop lying.
Are you gonna explain how? Or are you just trying to be a fucking contrarian?
Looks bad.
Well, if I meant me to guess, it's probably because Eva destroyed the generator while committing a murder.
What
Huh?
all this about?
Are you saying Eva was special privileges? Oh, I think it's more like her method of murder was what destroyed the generator, meaning the generator is technically tied to Wolfgang's death. Yeah, which is why Eva was excused for breaking it. Yo, that can't actually be the reason, can it?
I see.
And if it were... What? Yeah, I see. Eva believes she would count as an exception to the rule, which is why she didn't take any steps to avoid destroying the generator. She risked getting shot in the head over something just assumed? Nah, without confidently Eva executed the murder, she must have known for sure she wouldn't be penalized. How about it, Toza? Did you ever share this information with her?
Me?
Pooh! A desperate killing is much like a hungry seagull, ready to pounce upon the slightest crumb of substance. The mere implication of a loophole ignites their senses, and they are as desperate people always to do. Will shred their dignity in the pursuit of confrontation. So to answer your question, yes, Eva approached me with the same question your friends are asking now. And yes, I confess her suspicions were true. Seriously? That's so unfair. Unfair? Answering a reasonable question is far from unfair. Have you ever asked the professor for help on an assignment? Sure, your professor won't do the work for you, but they'll be happy to clear up any confusion you might have. Then why did Eva say you made her kill Wolfgang? I suppose you could say Eva and I made a deal. A deal? What kind of deal? What kind of... a deal? What kind of deal? A deal to begin the killing game. Huh? In exchange for agreeing to perform the first kill, she would receive a special perk. The traitor perk. What do you mean, traitor perk? Is it the tablet Eva has? I mean, she refused to show it to us when we asked. Mind you that a host cannot simply hand over a traitor perk to anyone who asks. For a student to be eligible for a perk, they must first earn it. What do you mean, earn it? Do you recall the little tidbit I shared with you about the pharmacy? You know, the one about a secret lurking inside? You see, a very interesting secret is lurking beyond the store. What secret? Were you referring to the traitor perk? Indeed I was! When I said a very interesting secret was lurking inside, I meant that quite literally. The only thing separating us from the perk was a few inches of stainless steel and a pin pad. Pin pad? Oh gosh, you're talking about the big door I found tucked behind a shelf? I see. It was hiding the traitor perk all along. How did Eva figure out the password to the pin pad though? Did she enter a bunch of random numbers until it finally worked? A 4-digit code could have thousands of potential combinations. Unless Eva encountered unbelievable luck, the chances of her guessing that code is only a few days is extremely unlikely. Then how did you get access to the traitor perk? Before I was to unlock the pin pad, how did Eva figure that out? There's only one way. Only one way I could see her obtaining the correct answer. It's to do with the poster, isn't it? The mysterious poster in the pharmacy. What poster are you talking about? Ding, 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 correct. Yes, indeed, inside one of the pharmacy rooms is a poster which reveals the code to the pin pad. For reals? How can that poster reveal the code, though? I knew it had to be important somehow. None of the visuals made sense, which is exactly why it caught my attention. But I don't know what to do with the information. How to decipher what I was seeing?
Pathetic.
And that is where you fall short of your mathematically gifted peer. With her keen eye sense and quick thinking, she saw the poster for what it really was. An equation. What? Every detail is deceitful. These explanations of grandeur may in fact be hints towards a certain something nature, and that large star, a star stand in the coordinate plane. Well, not that it matters anymore. The passcode to that precious pin pad is after all being changed as we speak. To quote the words of my parents' parents, the road to freedom must always be paved with obstacles.
Sick and twisted.
No way map creation is totally up for Eva's alley. Eva, you told me you couldn't understand the poster. Of course you did. The equation is the key to the trader perk. Handing it over would mean handing the perk over. So the trader perk was Eva's reward for solving the puzzle? The heck even is the perk? You still haven't explained that yet. I assure you, it's a very handy thing to have. You see, the trader perk allows the owner to access the school's security cameras using a tablet. That tablet, of course, being on Eva's person right now. What?
Damn it.
So I was right. You accessed the camera in the boiler room, which was how you saw Diana enter. I thought it was weird Eva wouldn't show us the tablet, but I didn't think it was actually wired to the school cameras. Then the reason I saw the security camera's light blinking back in the boiler room is because Eva was watching me? Nah, this is making too much sense. Eva, how could you negotiate with your kidnapper? Why would you have any reason to trust him? I had no choice. Huh? I would take his deal and give myself a chance to escape, or I would die here with the rest of you. You, that selfish attitude is the reason why we ended up in this mess. Didn't we promise to make it out of here together? You hadn't murdered one of the only people who could have handled the situation. We might have made progress in escaping. Even if I didn't kill, someone else would have eventually. And if they were in my position right now, they wouldn't even admit to what they've done. They cry and shiver and try to guilt you. They wouldn't be honest like me. Honest or not, playing Toza's game was risky. You were trapped in a small space with witnesses everywhere. That's not a gamble you should have taken. We had food, we had shelter. All we had left to do was wait for our eventual rescue from this place. But I would have died first. It was obvious from what was happening with Wolfgang. His constant jeering at me over the few mistakes I've made while the rest of you followed his lead. If a class trial ever happened with him around, he would have accused me of being the killer, even without evidence. And you all would have believed him. That's not... Because of Wolfgang, I was isolated from everyone else. He turned me into an easy target for murder. And if I was murdered, would that rest of you even bother to find out who killed me? There's no way you would have, and there's no way anyone would. You're all the worst. Hope you all rot here. That's cold, man. Even if we had some rough spots, some of us still tried to get along with you. During the gaming tournament, I was fine with you joining. You think a few games were enough to forgive everything you did to me? One of you actually care about me? None of you. I've never been anything to anyone. What do you mean? It really is the same in here as it is out there. I'm always the one the people hated. I didn't choose this talent. I was just doing what others wanted me to do. I was a prodigy student. The adults wanted me to be. I thought I did everything right. But I still kept being judged. Everyone else around me resented me, hated me because they wanted me to love. Wanted the love I received, or what they thought was love. And despite all my hard work, the UTP turned me into something I never wanted to be. Even if I wanted to return to normality, it would be impossible. I'm stuck with this talent for life. And now, when I try to become something more than a sad joke, I get hit with the realization that all my efforts were for nothing. And if it could be anyone else, I never get what I deserved. But I cared.
Don't understand.
Eva, I cared about you. I don't get it. Eva, why did you frame me? I cared for you and stood up for everything, whatever I could.
Don't say that.
I wanted to be your roommate. I wanted to help you.
I don't want to.
It didn't mean anything. Why? You still agreed with everything Wolfgang said. No matter what he did to me, you kept on supporting him. Is that why you tried to frame me for his murder? Yeah, and you deserved it. No. Didn't let us sob and nearly fell onto her partner. Deanna! I just ran over to Deanna and put arm around her shoulder.
Can you believe that?
Why'd you try and kill Wolfgang in front of her? That's so cruel! She obviously knew what she was doing. Both the cause and time of death were mentioned in the mock trial. So it stands to reason what they wouldn't be mentioned here too. When Eva realized that she tried to leverage it against us, I'm sure receiving that little camera perk made it all too easy to time the murder.
Shut it!
Psst, enough of this bullshit already. So Eva's privileged little asshole who thinks her life sucks. Who cares? You took Wolfgang's life. The only thing you deserve is some fucking companions. I doubt she actually telling the truth. Murder someone because they lied about their inoffensive talent. Even she must now know how ridiculous that sounds. If Eva didn't kill Wolfgang because she was scared, then why did she kill him? Why else but to escape the killing game? I doubt any of us were ever a threat to her. In fact, it was probably the complete opposite. She thought she was smarter and better than all of us. That's why she thought she could win the class trial. Yes, I agree with Winona. In that case, do you reckon Eva killed Wolfgang because of his abilities as a lawyer? She herself admitted he would have suspected her if he was there. Clearly, Wolfgang was the best person to kill if she wanted to escape.
Nope.
And anyways, Eva isn't the only one who's vulnerable. There are people here with even weaker bodies and weaker minds. Anyone who is looking for an easy kill would know the target them first. It doesn't matter. Even if no one targeted me, I still would have died first. How so? Because of the perk. Huh? Tozer told me if I didn't use the perk to murder someone as soon as possible, I was going to die. What? Is that true, Tozu? Guilty as charged. No way! Tozer never told me the number of days I had left, just as I needed to kill someone. If I didn't kill soon, I would die. I had to do something. You can't blame me for that. If you were in my shoes, you would have all done the same. It's your own fault. You were only in this situation because you took the perk. Tozy targeted me with the math puzzle. He offered me the perk when I was at my lowest point. If you guys were approached the same as I was and offered a chance to go home, you would have taken the perk too. You're just a bunch of hypocrites. You just want to make me look like the villain so you feel less bad about killing me. Killing her? That's right. How could I forget? The black is uncovered. Enough already. I'm sick of talking to this scumbag. Get on with the fucking execution, will you? Alright. This sole purpose is entertaining, but I realize it's time to change the channel. Wait, don't tell me you're actually going to...
Holy...
All of a sudden, the elevator behind us began to turn alive. The machinery could be heard from the other side of the doors. Raw, loud, and rhythmic like a mechanical symphony.
The show must go on.
Ahem. Do not avert your eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, I hear a lot of the budget went into this. No, I don't... What's going on? This isn't happening. This isn't happening.
Blood is rushing.
To the victor go the spoils. Hail the honorable dead. Avenge at last. I don't deserve this. If you hate me, I don't deserve this. May charitable justice inspire fear and humility within these wretched souls. This isn't fair. I don't deserve to die. I deserve to live. I deserve to live. And stir the hearts and minds of all those bearing witness. Ready, everyone? Let the show begin.
I deserve to live. I'm going to live. I'm going to live!
And now we present the execution of Eva Tsuna. Enjoy the show. you're done. Ference of something. Ah, damn. I do love that Danganronpa execution trial music though. So it sucks there's nothing, they didn't do something similar. They did something a bit more like, well, they did like kind of like a symphony. She gonna burn the death? No, that's fucked. Oh. Oh, yo. This is violent, dude. This is a violent execution. Kind of like the second execution, the third game is pretty violent. Okay, interesting. She was the dummy, yeah. Bro, she's a dummy, dude. You're just gonna pull her in. Yeah. And she burns to death. Oh. Yikes. Bro, we're watching. Damn, Damon. Didn't even say anything. Didn't say like, you know, I thought you were a friend or anything like that. Because they had a good bond. My top body seized up. I couldn't move a single limb. Couldn't say a single word. All I could do was stand and stare. My mind is a complete and total loss. So was that punishment entails? Just let me go. Please let me go home.
Isn't this lovely?
Goodness, talk about a heated moment. That's a pretty fucking brutal trial. I wouldn't want to kill anyone to get risk being found out to get fucking killed like that. Dude, that's fucked. He would put up quite a fight. For a second there, she almost had me, believing she would underestimate her. Pooh, just kidding.
Damned.
How can you do this, forcing these innocent people to kill each other? So judgmental. Need I remind you that this is the student on student warfare? Just shut up already. Wait, for why? You just needed a friend. I could have been the friend you needed. Why did you do this?
I can't believe it.
I think I'm gonna be sick. I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. I wanna die. I don't wanna die. I'm totally gonna die here, aren't I? No, no one else is gonna die. You're here. We're all gonna be okay. Come on, repeat it after me. I'm here. I'm okay. I'm here. And I'm okay. I'm here and I'm okay. This was my reality. The fear of death had already been heavy on my shoulders. Ever hear the Killing Game was announced? Ever since the Killing Game was announced, but now it had completely enveloped me. I can't do it. I can't lie to myself again.
It's
again.
all my fault.
I'm not okay. I'm never gonna be okay. I could have changed things. I could have saved her. And him, Wolfgang. If I just dragged him out of the water, I could have saved him. Why did I save him? Gianna, you had no way of knowing what was going to come next. He was with a knife too. Anyone would have done what you did. Did he really bring a knife in self-defense? Huh? Usually a comment like that would have gotten a rise out of Grace, but she stayed completely silent. I can't let it end. Wolfgate's kindness, I can't let anyone forget it.
How it is.
That goes without saying. I'm sure everyone will remember what Wolfgang did for us. I've never thought of the lengths my talent can go. The ability to change others' appearances to be the best version of themselves. It's always been someone else who sits in front of the mirror. I've never really put myself in that place. Diana, are you okay? If I can't save Wolfgang, then at the very least, maybe I can live for him. Maybe I can live for him. You didn't do anything wrong, Diana.
Pardon me.
Yeah. I can do this. I can feel the life he wasn't able to live, huh? Bro, is she gonna become a drag? Is she gonna do, what's it called? Drag king? Become, dress up as him?
Like a chameleon, I will adapt. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps.
Oh, so she's become the new leader,
continue
eh?
what he wasn't able to accomplish. I'll become something new.
Tears were running down Diana's face, but her expression, somehow she looked determined. I couldn't understand it. Despite everything she's been through, here she was making some silly vow about continuing Wolfgang's legacy, acting like she's a hero from a storybook. Has this girl lost her mind?
Hold on.
Wolfgang and Ava, neither of them deserve this. I won't let what happened to them happen to anyone else. For both their sakes, I'll save everyone from the killing game. Take this seriously, will you? Huh?
Can this get any worse?
It seems your peers aren't much in the mood for heroic monologues. Anyhow, it's been a long day. The crime scene has already been cleaned up. Unless you have any further questions for me, you're all free to return to your dorms. So, any further questions? Get lost. Huh? Now, where I have heard that one before. In all seriousness, I'll take that as a no. Until next time, everyone. Just like last time, Tozy walked over to the throne. By the way, you're safe to ride the elevator back up. We've set it back to its default mode. What you glimpsed before was simply its punishment mode. On that ominous note, he was lowered underground. Hey guys, should we just go back to our rooms? Aye, it's about time we draw this day to a close. Good idea. People silently made their way to the elevator, horror and despair etched on their faces. It was clear today's events would not be easily forgotten. And then there was me. Everything I've been remaining over the devastating images which had been plagued my mind. Wolfgang's murder, the trial, he was dying right in front of me, swallowed by a pit of fire. It's pretty fucked. It all retreated to the corners of my mind. The only thing I could focus on now were those 5 words. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps. Hearing those words from Diana after everything that happened, seeing her raise her chin and act so tall and proud, just like Wolfgang once did, it pissed me off. Interesting. I'm really interested in where Damon might go. I generally think he might become a killer at some point. They kind of set it up to be that way. Oh, they just take them out of the picture. Damn. And a little feather. To be continued. Well, guys, there we have it. The first chapter of Project Eden's Garden. Fucking really well made. I don't know when the next chapter will come out. I reckon, my guess, it might seem like they do maybe 1 per year or year and a half. Because they start, I think it came out 2022. Like the demo intro and probably the mock trial would have came out. So then this chapter would only came out at the end of last year. It was December last year. I was actually surprised. I thought this came out a while ago. So the next chapter won't be out for a while. I wouldn't think it would be out for a while. Cast. Carly Lopez. Yeah. Who wrote it? Do they have the creative lead, technical producer? Colin Scotty. Alright. Nice. Oh my god. It's gonna be a while until the next chapter comes out, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, because just these two, the other ones haven't come out yet. Well, I want to quit the game. I want to quickly go back to this. So, bit silly of me to put Deanna there, but I was wrong again. If the real killer, oops, being Eva Tsunaka. So, okay, so that rules Eva out here. So that's funny. So I had the switch around. I had Eva victim, Wolfgang being a murderer, but I like this outcome much better, and it makes sense. Okay, let's switch it up a bit. I now will put in, I do think Deanna Deanna Venecia will be one of the final five. Winona, Cassidy, Kai, and Damon. I don't know why. I don't want to think. Damon could be a killer, but I can't really rule him in being in here. I can see Desmond being a killer, or maybe being a victim. I'm trying to think who the last case, who the victim would be in the last case. Or maybe the victim, actually, no, I'm going to switch it up. I think Diana will be something. I think she will be a victim in the final trial. Because I'm trying to think of who will become the next big important character. So they're setting up Diana. Of course I will be. Maybe. This is going to be crazy prediction. This is going to be crazy. What if? What if, guys? If this is what happens. I did say he was going to get killed. Now, who would become the next protagonist if that happens? Maybe they could set up Kai to be a protagonist. Desmond's kind of cool. I could see maybe Deanna might become a protagonist then. But I could see her dying as well. Or maybe, just maybe, she will become the next protagonist. Grace gets killed. Because I feel Grace will get killed at some point. But I want to start thinking about the next trial. I still see Ulysses, Ingrid. I got Toshiko being a killer. That's so fucking... I don't think she'll be a killer, but you never know. I feel like that this game wants to really like play on the tropes a lot of Danganronpa and really just try and set new bounds. I don't think it would be as smart in some cases Danganronpa, like with how they've done stuff in V3, because they just don't. First of all, that trial's great. Their writing chops are definitely up there and almost on par with Danganronpa. Definitely that trial was, I'd say, almost better than the majority of the Danganronpa 1 trials, maybe some of Danganronpa 2's, but. And probably, I don't know, V3 has some of the best trials all up. And how everything's paced and how the writing goes. But that was written really well. Pacing wasn't amazing, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see who will be the next one. I still think Jet's going to get killed. I still think Ulysses will get killed. I think Ingrid will get killed. Jean will get killed. I kind of agree with the people that get killed. Maybe you could swap around Ingrid and Toshiko, maybe. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how this has kind of turned out though, and I think there won't be much change to it. When the game starts to slowly come back and there's maybe some more details on anything, then I can switch it up. But for now, I'm pretty happy with how this is set out. Alright guys, anyway, I'm out of here. Thanks for joining in. This is almost another 3 hour long stream. That was a long fucking trial. I'll give it that. That was a long trial. I was like almost, I think that felt like almost 4 hours long. Like, Jesus Christ. God damn. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later. And yeah. Should be a good time. I'm keen for more Project Eden's Garden when it comes out, and I'll definitely be playing it and hopefully stream it. But next, we're going to play Danganronpa 2. We took a little detour, but now it's Danganronpa 2 turn, and I'm keen to get back into that. Maybe I might play some more today. Well, maybe not. Maybe not, because I do have... what was here? I do have work tonight. If I didn't, then I would, but I've got work tonight. I've got volleyball tomorrow. I'm out all night tomorrow, all day Sunday, and I might be catch up with me on Monday. So as of now, I probably won't be playing any games really until maybe like Monday night, maybe. So yeah, we'll see. But Danganronpa 2 definitely coming along, and excited.